Good morning. Welcome to Still Up with 6, where the conversation continues. Chris is joining us live from his home this morning to continue our conversations that we had on Texas today, and of course answer any questions that you guys have and drop in the comments section. Hey there, Chris.
Hey there, Heidi. Yeah, good morning to you. Of course, plenty of you right now are not waking up in time to catch Texas today. Understandable, as you work from home or possibly you had your hours cut. We understand that, so we want to make sure that we still get your questions answered here on the after show. Melissa, good morning to you. So drop your questions in the comments. Of course, the big news this morning that's changed since yesterday is Governor Greg Abbott has expanded that executive order. If you want to give a quick breakdown of what that means, Heidi.
Yeah, so that is all going to be expanded, but I did want to start off first before we talk about that. I do want to say our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts go out to the Waco ISD community. They lost a principal to COVID-19. There he is, Philip Perry. He passed away yesterday, and there's still so many cases in McLennan County right now. 44 is the number of confirmed cases. There are still 5 people in critical condition. There are the numbers. Brazos County, 53 cases. Bell County, 44. And Limestone County has 3 cases as well. And they are now in a shelter-in-place order there in Limestone County. Chris, that expansion means that people will have to remain home unless they are essential workers until the end of April. And that also means that schools will remain closed until May 4th at this time right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a quick note on the principal that did pass away. Of course, all of us at 6 News, our thoughts are with him. The first confirmed fatality in McLennan County. You don't want it to happen to anyone at all, so certainly our thoughts are with him. Tempe wondering how many kids did he come in contact with. Of course, that's hard to quantify, Tempe, but I would say this: if you know someone that has been around him or had been around him, then it is important that you contact your local health authority. That is what they're asking you to do right now. Yeah,
and they are trying to track down all the people that he came in contact with, but that is a sad update we have for you guys this morning since we last checked in with you guys. Of course, we told you yesterday that he did test positive for coronavirus. Today we are bringing you some sad news that he has passed away due to the virus.
Shasta saying, will this ever end? I know, Shasta, I'm sure that's the kind of the feeling right now that so many of you have, and certainly some harrowing new numbers coming out from the White House this morning. But we knew that this was going to get worse before it got better because of the abundance of tests now out there. But certainly the new projected numbers are pretty sobering. The White House estimating as many as 250,000 people could die as a result of COVID-19 by the end of this. Heidi, just hearing that number is quite staggering, but we're hoping that people follow these guidelines. I mean, at this point, not only us here in the media, but health authorities begging people to follow these national guidelines, these state guidelines, these county guidelines. You have to stay home. Certainly this will not be unfortunately that educator passed away in McLennan County. This will not be the only fatality in McLennan County, in Bell County. There's going to be more to come, and a lot more to come.
Yeah, and you just mentioned that number, 250,000. When you hear that, it just, we're not trying to spread fear. We're just trying to remind you guys how serious this is and why it is important to follow the guidelines in your county and in our state as well. And also the president is saying that we have a couple tough weeks ahead of us. So keep that in mind, as well as more cases will be reported nationwide.
Yeah, certainly he mentioned the next 2 weeks, and health officials agree the next 2 weeks are going to be the toughest. We have to get through these next 2 weeks, and hopefully on the other side of these 2 weeks we'll start to see a downturn, a flattening of that curve. But yeah, Melissa, you said it best. Everyone needs to stay home. I want to go through a couple of the different questions that came in to me for the Verify team about what you can and can't do with this new extended executive order, or if in the case we went into a mandatory stay-at-home order across the state. Of course, we know that so many people and so many counties are already in that, but I know that there's a lot of questions about what you can and can't do as I scroll here to get my information. So a couple of you asked me about walking and biking trails. We know that it's fine to go outside, to go to a park, but driving to a park to do so, that is okay to do. That much is verified, but we do want to remind you, use your social distancing. It is so important to stay at least 6 feet away from each other. Someone else asked about hunting and fishing. Here's what we can tell you about that. Hunting or fishing is allowed so long as necessary precautions are taken to limit contact with people outside of the same household. And finally, someone else asked me about landscaping. Of course, it's fine to get out and about and cut your lawn yourself. Now, as for having a landscaper over, a landscaping company over, it's allowed but highly discouraged right now. You should be staying away from as many people as possible.
Yeah, these are all great questions that you're getting, and I can see why there can be some confusion in regards to following county orders and following statewide orders. So if you have any questions, go ahead and message Chris and the Verified team. There's all the information on how to reach them. And of course, we are still answering your questions here in real time, so continue dropping those in. Christina says, my family is a large family. We have 8 in the family from 2 years to 87-year-olds. And when I went out to get food, so many people are out, even with their spouse and kids. How can we stay protected when people aren't listening? That is a good question, right? Because, you know, you want to do the right thing. You want to keep your family safe. You want to keep yourself safe. And you also want to keep others safe. So I think just continue doing what you're doing, Christina, making sure that your family stays home. We cannot control everyone. And that's the thing we have to remember. We can't control what people are doing. But it does make me sad when I do see families going to the grocery store all in a pack. Just if you're going out to the store, send one person in your family to do the shopping if you can. Of course, some circumstances don't allow that, but if you can, that is the best advice I have.
Yeah, Dennis asking, I wonder if this virus can be passed through mosquitoes. It's a good question, Dennis. It's not the first time we've been asked that question. I can tell you this right now. There is no evidence at this point that mosquitoes are a potential carrier, so that's the good news. As far as we know, the only way to transfer this virus is person-to-person contact. Of course, we know that it's spread through droplets, tiny moisture droplets in the air. So far, no evidence whatsoever, Dennis, that this can be transferred via mosquitoes.
But that is a good question, especially because we are in that season where we are starting to see a lot more mosquitoes, especially with the rain here in central Texas. That always brings them out. So that is a great question.
Yeah, another question, you know, speaking of the seasons, a lot of people have been talking about the idea that potentially this could start to go away as the weather gets warmer. Right now, according to leading health officials, that just remains to be seen. That very well could be the case. There's no proven way to confirm whether or not that's the case until it actually happens. So whether or not that is the case, we can only hope that it will be, but right now we just don't know.
We're seeing some comments about people who are starting to feel a little scared, and of course bills are due. It is the first of the month, so if you are struggling and you still need to pay your bills, we have some options listed for you on our website. We just dropped the link there for you to get those resources and figure out how you're going to navigate through this, because I know that's a big question and concern on people's minds right now.
Well, William is saying the problem is that doctors are not reporting on this virus, just a bunch of amateur reporters. I would, remind you, William, that the leading doctors in the nation are having daily press conferences every single day, addressing the entire country. Some of the leading medical professionals in the world right now are quite literally coming out and addressing the American public every single day. So I would contend to you that if you have a difficulty listening to what you call amateur reporters, then you can certainly turn on the television or your live stream on your device and listen to the top doctors in the country.
That is a great point. Of course, if you don't have access to that on your TV, we do stream it every single day when the White House and the task force is giving that update. And like you said, top leading doctors are coming out and talking about this coronavirus and answering questions as well. They're not just putting out statements, they're answering any questions that people have. So that is what we have to say to you, William.
So certainly a lot of questions about, you mentioned it a moment ago, but there's, with a new month comes new concerns about paying your bills. And I know that so many of you are really hoping and waiting on that, that stimulus check. We're still waiting to hear a confirmed exact timeline as to when that will come. A lot of people have asked about how, if they've changed mailing addresses, how will that be accessible? I can tell you this, for anyone who's filed their taxes online, which I know a great majority of us do these days, I think that what I can tell you is that they have your direct deposit information there, and that's how you'll receive it most of the time.
Clifford is asking, saying if 200,000 deaths here in the U.S., then global it could be 1 million deaths. Yeah, it could reach the millions, Clifford. Those are the numbers that are being projected right now by the people who are leading us through this. And it's a serious situation, especially when we hear these numbers. And it really just puts it all into perspective for people once those numbers were released.
Yeah, Bonnie's saying, are there store hours for older folks? And thank you for your hard work during this time. Well, thank you, Bonnie, and there are. Heidi, I know that you had been talking about this last week. I know that Dollar General and a couple other grocery stores, Walmart included, for certain hours just for seniors.
Yes, so it was Dollar General is doing it every single day, but Walmart's doing it on Wednesdays. I believe Target's on Tuesday, and Big Lots also doing it every single day. I believe we have an article up on our website that lists all of the times for elderly people to go shopping, but there are options, and I like that stores are doing this because it's really important to give them a chance to get the things that they need as well without having to go through all the hectic times and throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Shasta asking, is there a form on SSI have to fill out for your stimulus check? A good question. You're going to want to head to irs.gov. Essentially, what they're going to need is a very basic tax form to fill out just to get your information there. If you are on SSI, I would direct you, Shasta, to the IRS website. They have all the resources you need to know. As far as I'm aware, if you're on SSI, it is a very simple process, but you are going to need to take some steps in that case.
And I do want to give a shout out to Jose and Jay, who are coming to our defense here with one of the comments saying that we're causing fear more than we are causing comfort. What we're trying to do is bring you the facts. We're not trying to make you feel any way except for feeling informed about what's going on. Of course, we do this every single morning to keep you informed on the numbers, the truth, and of course, answer your questions. So thank you to you guys who are coming to our defense here.
Melissa asking, what if you don't have the same account information? How will you receive your stimulus check? Again, irs.gov is a great source for questions like this, but Melissa, as far as I'm aware, they might then take your most recent mailing address on your last tax filing, but I would encourage you definitely to get confirmed answers to go to irs.gov. I can also do some research for you and answer that question to you individually after we jump off here. I know that's a big question for a lot of different people. If details have changed since the last time they filed taxes, I'll get those information. I can get that information for you.
We have another comment coming in from Armor. It's a question saying, well, we have to pay taxes on the stimulus check we get. Chris, you verified this a number of times, and the answer is no. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So this is going to be essentially free income. Consider it a gift from the government. This is not going to be considered income, so it won't be taxable. You won't have to pay this back, so that's the good news there. And this is coming from Gabriel, who says, should it be a concern that this virus can be passed through contact of money? We do know, Gabriel, that if you're exchanging money, it's certainly, you want to take the precautions. I mean, it can live on paper for a short period of time, so that is a real possibility. If you've touched money that maybe have come in contact with someone and then you touch maybe your face, then that is a way that it could transmit. So if you're handling money back and forth, just keep sanitizing. Try as hard as possible to keep your hands away from your face.
And unfortunately, we do have to wrap things up, but we want to thank everyone who's tuned in this morning and dropped a question. Of course, we do this every day, so if we didn't get to your question today, we hope to get to it in the coming days. And on a lighter note, we do want to show you some video of a display in Temple. This is a massive dinosaur dressed up as a nurse to honor all of our medical staff that are working so hard around the clock. And we just want to end on a lighter note and show you something that might make you smile.
Thank you, Shirley, for your kind words. Roy, for your kind words. We appreciate all of you every single morning. Again, we want to spread facts, not fear. We're going to have to jump off now, but we will see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Stay safe, wash your hands, stay indoors, and hold the ones you love close to your heart.